Fan favorite games keep making their way to Switch, and a fighting game cult favorite has now released on the eShop in the form of Skullgirls' second Encore. We have been playing a bunch of it, and it is a pretty freaking great time. So I brought Joseph along, my fighting game counterpart here, to discuss what makes these Skullgirls so special. And right off the bat, want to let you guys know that we are giving away a couple copies of the game. All you got to do is leave a comment letting us know what you think in the comments down below. Hit that like button, follow us on Twitter. Big thanks to Skybound Games for sending over the codes and sponsoring this video.
Nice. I did not know that there were codes involved. I'm a little jealous of everybody.
Hey. You got a code too. How are you going to be jealous? How are you going to be jealous?
Very true.
All right, so Skullgirls Second Encore, if you don't know, it is a very fast and fun fighter, but I think the big differentiator here is that it has crazy cool animation and a very creative and at times just downright like jaw-dropping cast of characters.
Yeah, I think probably the strongest thing going into this, and you don't even have to really be a person into fighting games, is the aesthetic is so strong. I mean, from, like you said, the design of the characters, as well as just the way everything is put together, the aesthetic of the old cinema style, we were talking about it earlier, how cool it is. I think it just presents itself in such an interesting and different way compared to most fighting games that it's kind of hard not to instantly kind of fall in love with it.
Yeah, well, like the 5-second version is like crazy, chaotic fighter that has its own unique style, but still brings the polish and like the prowess that you'd expect from a mainline fighter franchise. I think that's kind of like the elevator pitch. And then, let us discuss the one-man band character and the girl who is a cat that rips off her head character and the pain wheel character that just makes me feel pain when I look at her.
Yeah, very gross. Just from every aspect of the word.
Sarabella has arms coming out of her head. And, you got Beowulf, who is a boy amongst a whole lot of girls, doing his thing with a chair and a giant... He has a decapitated giant's arm that he uses for all of his heavy attacks. It's ridiculous,
yeah.
But in a way that's still, like... This is, like, a very focused fighter.
Yeah, it's actually really funny, you going down the list of explaining what makes these characters so unique. Even though they're so weird in just so many different ways, and all their kits and all the stuff that they can do are so varied, they never feel kind of weird up against each other. Like, they all exist in this world, and you don't really question it all that much, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I think every character fights extremely differently, which is another super cool thing. I mean, obviously a lot of fighting games, that's kind of the draw, is how different these characters play. But again, they're all kind of gimmicky in their own way, and I don't mean that in obviously like the word gimmicky has a bad context, but I think they're also interesting.
They got their own shtick. Yeah,
exactly.
Their defining shtick, yeah.
Yeah, and what's really cool about it is the fact that you can play as multiple characters, and the way they kind of balance that, being able to select whether or not you want to go in with 3 characters, 2 characters, or 1 character, and they kind of like gauge their health to, if you're picking 1 character, they'll have more health, as opposed to if you're picking 3 characters, they'll be more like glass cannons where, they still can do all their stuff, but they take a lot more damage. It's just really cool, and it allows you to play with as many characters as you really want to. And in this game, you definitely want to play as multiple characters.
Yeah, I like how they set it up so you can match up, 1 on 3 and have your kind of like just like beefy star character if you feel comfortable, or if you want to utilize the switch in, switch out mechanic and try to save health that way. The game is pretty fully featured. There's obviously online, which works really well. There's obviously local play, which works really well. There's challenges. There's an extensive training mode. There's story mode for every character. There's a lot here. There's an infinite mode that I have. For me, it's not really an infinite mode. It's more like a 5-minute mode because I can't get to infinity, but I try. And I do think, like, for me, as someone who's not super hardcore into fighters, it's like I need to get competency quickly with the game. Like, I need to feel like I'm good at the game pretty quick, and Skullgirls does a nice job. The tutorial, like, will roll you through, like, everything if you want it. Or you can kind of pick and choose, like, okay, I just want to learn about special moves, just want to learn about, throws, and then I'm good. And I feel like as long as you build up the basic repertoire, you can be pretty successful. And for me, that's always fun to be able to execute cool moves right from the get-go. And maybe it's a testament to the character design and the movesets, like you were saying. Like, everybody just does cool stuff all the time.
Yeah. And I think a really cool thing, too, is that a lot of the, I guess, play styles, although they're all different, like, honestly, playing each character, if you know how to play one character, you can sometimes translate that to others.
Yeah,
which is really cool to be able to do that, because obviously most fighters do allow for that, where as long as you understand the mechanics of the game, you can pick up and play most characters. But what's really cool is they are very similar in how they play, but how they feel is so very different. And, with this many characters, and again, with them all having their own gimmicks, it is really interesting to see how you can play, like, Eliza, who's this Egyptian, like, I don't know, is she like a goddess? I don't know what she is, but she's probably my favorite character. And then really? You can play someone like Big Band, who, is kind of a meme, but like being able to play as both of them and be able to just jump in and do cool stuff, like you said, is just, I mean, that's what most fighting games should strive to do, where it's a steep learning curve, but, it does allow for newcomers to kind of get their footing early on.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is plenty of depth there if you do want to go through the entire moveset and learn all the different combos, all the specials. Make sure you have all of those lined up. I wanted to talk on your favorite character. Is Eliza then your favorite? That's your go-to girl?
So funny enough, like when I originally played this game, it was back when it first dropped, and I didn't touch any of the DLC characters. So now that this game is the full package, you get all the DLC characters. It's pretty much the definitive edition now. It was really cool seeing characters like Beowulf, Eliza, Big Band, because again, I've seen these characters, but I've never played them. Yeah, Eliza's animations are so sick. Like her dashes, her skin kind of like comes off of her, because the whole thing is she
becomes like a skeleton.
Yeah, she's like a skeleton. So all of her moves, like, you can see her skin kind of like shapeshift around her and become different things, and it's just super cool to see. So I kind of like really just fell in love with playing her. Her play style is cool as well, but again, I think the real draw for her to me is just the way she animates. I really don't know how they did it. It's absolutely insane.
I'm gonna be a little blasphemous here, and my favorite character is Beowulf, even though he's a boy in a game called Skullgirls. I think it's cool that they added him in there. I just love he's kind of like this over the top, like he's probably not as good as he thinks he is type character, and he has this giant arm, like I mentioned, like this giant arm that he uses, which I think is just so cool. Sometimes he climbs out of the back of the screen, like rips through the screen. The animations are insane, and obviously we wanted to focus on gameplay, because a fighter is nothing without its controls, its fluidity, and its actual fighting. But goodness gracious, Joseph, like this game animates. There's plenty of hand-drawn games, and there's plenty of games like, well, that's really cool animation. But this one, I think, takes the cake, because there's so many diverse animations. I was noticing just like when characters fall down, when they get back up, nothing feels canned. Like, it's all so intricately and character specifically done. Like, as an artist yourself, how impressive is this?
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, I think anybody looking at this game will automatically pick up on the amount of work that was put into the characters. Because like you said, even just watching these characters fall down, their knockback animation and get back up, you can see, I mean, there's not a single frame that's still. They are constantly moving. Even in the character select, which is already beautiful, they're constantly moving in that as well. From an animator standpoint, it's absolutely astounding. I mean, the animation is already so tough. It really is. I mean, you're looking at 24 drawings for 1 second of animation. You know what I mean? Like, it's just insane. It is just not a fun process.
I don't know that I've done 24 drawings in my life, so that's
trust me,
impressive.
It's a lot, and a lot of the times, it's 24 for the most part good drawings. So it's like even harder, because now you have to make sure that there's a huge standard that you're holding yourself to, especially on a game with an aesthetic like this, where everything has to be so just perfect. And the bigger thing, and I think what gives it even more points, because yes, it is a beautiful game, and yes, there are games that are hand-drawn and do look similar, but the thing that's big about this is that it's a fighting game. So not only do they have to animate well, but it has to also give the player the right feedback, and it has to have the right movement. And because it's a fighting game and there's so many things that you can do, there's so much that has to be utilized correctly. So like watching these characters, I mean, I think the perfect example is Peacock, who's like the old-timey like character. I mean, they animated her as if she was a cartoon character. And I mean, obviously they're all cartoons, but she even, the way she holds herself is so different. And to be able to portray that is so much harder than people think. Like, I feel like a lot of people think like, oh, they just come up with the characters and then code it and then it's just there. But the artists have to do so much to be able to bring these characters to life. And I think they have done a fantastic job across the board. Again, other than Painwheel being utterly disgusting, but that's what they were aiming for.
Yeah, that might be a job well done. Because
that's a pat on the back, just not the executive decision I would have made. I think the artists have done a wonderful job. Even the style, we were talking about it before recording. It found this great mixture of like Western and Eastern styles, where it's clearly anime inspired, but it has its own look. You can't compare this to an anime and be like, oh, this looks like that, because it is a lot more round. It is a lot more cartoony in a sense. The way they're drawn is just very different. And again, it's a marvel to look at. And I think that's probably my biggest draw for it, is like, as an artist, seeing this animated. I mean, the fact that I fell in love with the character just because of the way she has her dash animation is just proof enough to how well they did.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's rounded out by the rest of the presentation. Like we mentioned, this like old-timey kind of like cinema style where on one hand you'd see these characters and be like, oh, this is going to be a very flashy, like clean game. Or you'd be like, oh, it's going to be like a very anime type fighter. But then you have this like jazzy soundtrack, and you've got like the film effects like as you start the battles, and you've got like the like old-timey announcer on the mic. It's just a really eclectic mix, and it works so well because it's unique, but also because the uniqueness is backed up with substance, and that's something that often is hard to get. I feel like a lot of, especially indie games, will try to be very unique, and that is the draw. And it's here equal parts uniqueness and style, but also like the fighting game itself. Like even if these characters look like blocks and bricks, you'd still be like, wow, it's still a good fighter. So it's remarkable that both of them come together so well. I will note that Philia is kind of my kryptonite. I cannot beat her, and I don't really know why. Also, I have to note that Parasol reminds me of like sexy Kim Possible.
I see it. Yeah, I absolutely see it. It has to be the hair.
Yeah. Well, the hair and the outfit, and they're all very different. Like that's, like you mentioned, also appreciated. Like Big Band is a ginormous, humongous dude who has all of these instruments, and then battles Cerebella, who has a hat with arms, and then battles Valentine, who is a nurse with an extreme penchant for blood and violence, who battles Painwheel, we don't speak about her, who battles Peacock, who is like this old-timey, like, firing projectiles and got like a whole lot going on there. So it's fantastically fun, and I think there's no better way to round this out than fighting ourselves.
Yes.
So let's duke it out right now and find out who is the true champion.
Who is the Skullgirl?
That's an honor that I definitely need to have. All right, baby. It is artist versus apprentice as our favorites duke it out, Joseph.
Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm gonna show everybody what Eliza can do.
I'm loving your skin peel technique. It's very good for the not the soul. Goodness gracious, that's evil. That's downright evil. Evil moves to Beowulf, who needs to come in here and let you know what's actually up with some aggressive maneuvering, some big fisted hand moves here.
I was
against
not
your
ready.
Little Egyptian princess. Look at those animations, though, dude.
So beautiful.
Describe to me how this even exists.
I honestly couldn't even begin to explain. It's so intense. Also, I love the fact that because of my the skin color I chose, her like blood is yellow.
Ooh.
That definitely.
I like that you're just monochromatic and all sorts of crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty tight, dude. It's pretty cool.
But I still love you, Joseph. I'm still gonna hug you with my octopus hair, give you a little of that Cthulhu calming that I know you need late at night. Just need a little of that love.
I don't know if meeting is exactly what I'd call that. But yeah, you definitely gave it.
It's like the kind of kneading when the cat needs your blanket. The cat needs, that's the kind of kneading I'm giving you. It's like you may not know you want it, but I promise you it'll make you feel better. I promise you, Valentine.
I'm taking your word for it. I don't know. My health's going down with each hug. I don't know if it's that. Oh, with the chair.
She looks desperate for a hug. Like honestly,
a little bit. You know what? I'll concede to that.
Dude, Beowulf. I'm not normally good with grappler type characters, but this guy is just—he is like. Welcome to the roster. Hello, this is Skullgirls, but I am the boy, and I will be the one to beat. He's just ridiculous. Look at this guy.
He will be the Skullgirl. He's aiming for it. He wants the title.
He's trying to change the title to Skull Boys. That's what he's about here.
He's changing
the
game
going on here. He's like, I'm not settling second Encore. It's more like first boy. That's what I want.
First boy. I like that.
And while we get goofy, this game is gonna go down to the wire. We are insanely close right now, friends.
I honestly can't
enemies, because this is gonna make an enemy out of me and you. I think. Goodness gracious.
One of us is leaving upset. Yeah, this is gonna be. First character lost. No,
Eliza, she's just staying on the battlefield. She's like, I gotta
That's
watch.
Dedication. That's
I lost, but I gotta. Oh, okay.
Two dead bodies. This is escalating.
2 dead bodies and 1 big boy. That's all I got to rely on. Here. Come on, big boy.
Oh, what the under? I was not expecting that.
Come on, Beowulf. Finish the fight. Let's go. The big arm. Oh my gosh, it is really close, Joseph.
Let's go.
That's a wrap.
Brought it home, and there's the belt. As if we didn't need any other reason to see the best boy. That was a good game. That was actually legitimately a great game.
It was exhilarating, and the apprentice has overtaken the master, so all is well.
You've done it.
I'm just still marveling at the sleeping bodies on the floor here.
Definitely just sleeping. They're okay.
We can just, if we don't move, Joseph, they're just gonna stay sleeping for the whole day.
Potentially
and Beowulf
forever.
is just gonna raise that belt and really build those triceps. So this is
and you know what? He's a little bit of a squat there. He's doing a core workout. I appreciate the
doing it all. Muscle building even in victory. And that is Skullgirls' second Encore.
Fantastic.
So we've talked Skullgirls, we've walked Skullgirls, and now we're ready to say goodbye. The game is available right now on the eShop for $24.99. I'll put a link in the description below, so definitely go check it out. Thanks so much to everybody for watching. If you want to get a code for yourself, make sure to like the video, leave a comment, follow us on Twitter. I'll put a link in the description to the game itself so you can check it out over on the eShop. It's available now, $24.99, worth the pennies, the nickels, the dimes, and the quarters. It just, especially like when I got to fight against you, Joseph, it just really, like, your descriptions and your way of like explaining the insanity of the animation just, I don't know.
It shows, man. It comes to life playing.
Until next time, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Joseph, thanks for being here. Love you guys a lot. Appreciate you all. Until next time, Switch Force out.
Bye-bye.